So today I have for you a book review. Let me find it. Still quite behind on doing my book reviews, but hopefully I remember enough from this book. That is going to be a review on Stephen King's If It Bleeds. Okay, so this is a collection of novellas. We've got, excuse all of this, Mr. Harrington's Phone, The Life of Chuck, If It Bleeds, and Rat. I enjoyed pretty much all of these. Quick synopsis: I'm gonna have to keep that up. Mr. Harrigan's Phone is about it's about a boy who becomes friends with this elderly man and kind of gets him an iPhone and kind of teaches him how to use it. It starts in like the early 2000s-ish era. I think I want to say maybe like 2000 and not early 2000s, but maybe like 2009-ish. But something like that. Either way, and then when the man dies, he gets buried with the phone. The boy puts the phone in his little pocket, and then he kind of calls on it for help throughout the years. And I've actually heard some people saying that they don't like this one because they don't like how Stephen King writes modern kids. Like, Stephen King is great at writing kids from like the 50s through the 80s, but he's kind of lost touch. I still liked it. I still had fun with it. After that was The Life of Chuck, which was this weird kind of surrealist situation where it starts out, this guy is like driving home and the world just starts collapsing. And it turns out that the world, like, this random dude named Chuck is just like the center of the world, and without him, when he's dying, the world's gonna die too. And then it just kind of follows his life, and it was fun and weird. I like that. If It Bleeds was the titular story here. This one featured Holly Gibney of Mr. Mercedes Outsider fame, and it was just kind of another police procedural type of situation. And then Rat was another one. It was a writing one. It was one about a writer who went to this cottage area to try and see if he could actually write something again. And a rat tried to shelter in a storm. And he's like, okay, I'll come in. And it kind of helped him out with that. It was hard to pick a favorite. Mr. Harrigan's Phone was kind of right up my alley. It had a lot of really fun things for me. I love when Stephen King writes kids. I don't care that this was more modern kid. I thought he did a decent job at it anyway. I love all the pop culture references he puts in when he's writing about kids. I loved a lot of the situations that the kid got himself into. I just thought it just had everything that I really enjoyed in Stephen King. The Life of Chuck was just wild. Like I said, it was kind of surrealist almost. It was just weird. I liked that. I kind of wanted If It Bleeds to be its own novel. It was by far the longest novella in this collection, and it felt like it wanted to be its own novel, but it just didn't get there. Maybe it's just because I just kind of want the Holly Gibney books to just all be their own thing, you know, like, I didn't want just a little story in here. I don't know. I wanted it to be its own. And Rat felt a lot more personal. I think that's probably because it was a writer one, and Stephen King's writer stories do tend to feel pretty personal. Feel personal for him reading, and it's personal for me, personal for him writing, and it's personal for me reading it too, because as a writer myself, a lot of the times I can kind of feel some of that. As always, though, Stephen King feels like home, and that is something I've said like a thousand times, is that it always feels weird to me reading a new Stephen King book, because I've only got 5 or so left at this point. There's some of the older ones that I just have not read yet, like, I still haven't read Gerald's Game. I haven't read From a Buick 8. That might be it. Of the old ones. And then I've got some of the new ones. Like, I haven't read Later yet. I've got it in a book stack over there somewhere, so I will read it at some point, but I haven't read it yet. And so it's weird for me to read the new ones because I've read the old ones so many times, just over and over and over again, and I've read so many of them that even the new ones seem familiar. And so that remains true, and I'm pretty happy about that because it is comfortable. There were also some really nicely gory bits in here. Stephen King is just so nice with the gore. I could really appreciate it. there was a lot I could really appreciate in these novellas though. Like I really enjoy Stephen King novellas. I do probably Four Past Midnight probably remains my favorite novella collection, which is wild because a lot of people will be like, oh, different seasons. It's got Shawshank Redemption in the body in it and Apt Pupil. I think Four Past Midnight though encapsulates much more of what my favorite things about Stephen King's are, which are the crazy coked off his ass 80s stuff. This is nowhere near that. But it did have, I mean, like Rat had some Secret Window, Secret Garden vibes, and I guess you could say The Life of Chuck reminded me thematically almost of, not thematically, but just in vibe wise, reminded me a little bit of The Sundog, and what's the If It Bleeds, and I guess The Library Policemen are the last two to pair up, and I guess both of them kind of feature monsters that are kind of similar to it, so it kind of fits. But overall, solid book, just a solid Stephen King book. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. I enjoyed it. I'm glad I read it. I love his novellas. It was a fun time. And that is all for today. I will talk to you later, and goodbye.